Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're going to be going over the 10 worst things that you can buy in GTA Online. It's been about a year and a half since I did one of these videos and the last one did really well, so I figured I would make an updated list going off of the last one that we did, but adding a few things to it as well. Now just for the record, this is not going to be your typical worst things you can buy list with just like the Luxe or Deluxe, the Swift Deluxe as two separate things. This one I actually really did some thinking. I thought about what are some terrible things that you can buy in GTA Online that either don't make sense or that have a redundant factor to them. If there's a newer, better vehicle than another one, like the Toreador versus the Stromberg, for example, like don't buy a Stromberg, you know what I mean? That's not even on this list, but anyways, this is going to be a good one. Leave a like if you enjoyed, dislike if you don't, and consider subscribing if you're new. Let's go ahead and get started with number 10. Now starting things off with the yacht and of course getting it right out of the way as soon as possible. The yacht is a huge waste of money. I think pretty much everybody knows this. I know there's going to be a few people in the comments who are going to be like, oh, I'm going to buy one just because you said not to, But the yacht, as cool as it may seem, 99.8% of you will never visit your yacht more than maybe 5 times a year. It is a cool novelty, but beyond that, it is very much useless. They did add those missions to it about 4 years after the yacht had actually released. And the thing is they don't even make up for the yacht's purchase price in the slightest. Like they pay basically nothing. The only other reason to buy a yacht is for piracy prevention, which will make you like 30 grand in 10 minutes, which by today's standards is terrible money anyways. So basically there's no point in buying a yacht. I would absolutely avoid one of these. I do have a yacht myself, but I rarely ever visit it, and I don't even think I use it for videos or anything like that. So it's really bad. Don't buy a yacht, please, for the love of God. Next up at number 9, we have police cars, and specifically the bad ones. Now, if you want to buy an Invitero Cockhead D10 Pursuit or a Bravado Gauntlet Interceptor, that's totally fine. I would just recommend not wasting your money on the ones that have pretty bad performance, like the Vapid Stanier LE Cruiser, the Vapid Unmarked Cruiser, the Greenwood Cruiser, etc. Now I will say I have recommended buying police cars in the past because I think at the end of the day they are quite fun, especially if you use them for RP purposes or things like that. But the truth is, for the majority of players, they're just a way to waste a huge amount of money, which is unfortunate. Like I said earlier, if you've already got everything you need in the game, these are sort of like a why not thing to buy. But if you don't have all the businesses yet or the vehicles that you should have, you definitely should not blow millions and millions of dollars on the police cars. Don't get me wrong, they're fun, they're cool. I do actually recommend getting them eventually, just don't buy them before you have yourself fully set up in GTA Online. Next up at number 8, we have something that you can't technically buy, and this is vehicle trade prices. It's something that you will waste hours and hours trying to unlock for essentially no benefit. Now this isn't the case for all vehicles with a trade price by any means, so don't take it that way. But for this topic, I'm specifically talking about trade prices that are unlocked for like the F-160 Raju in particular, but I'm sure there are many more trade prices that have unlock requirements that are just simply not worth your time. For example, to unlock the trade price for the Raju, you need to own an Avenger to begin with, and then spend an additional $1,400,000 to purchase the operations terminal, and then you will need to complete 2 missions and then a third to unlock the trade price for the Raju. Now this will save you a total of $1,700,000, meaning your actual savings of going through all this trouble is a measly $300,000 that in the same amount of time as doing all the missions and spending the $1.4 million, you probably could have just gone out and made 300 grand by doing something else in GTA Online. And of course, this is all assuming that you actually have an Avenger in the first place. And if you don't, an Avenger is going to cost you another $3,450,000, which means if you were to do this, you would be technically losing $3,150,000. So this is absolutely stupid, and I certainly hope that none of you have fallen for this scam. Yeah, you can argue that you're going to use an Avenger anyways and whatnot, but at the end of the day, chasing these trade prices is occasionally a pretty massive waste of your time. I remember before they updated the hangar and made the hangar source missions better, there were some trade price requirements for things like the FH-1 Hunter for like 42 air freight cargo sources, and those missions would take like 20-30 minutes before they updated it. I remember making a video way back when and talking about it and just being like, you guys should just go and make the money instead of trying to get the trade price, because you're just going to come out ahead in the long run. But anyway, vehicle trade prices are sometimes a scam, so be very careful of these before you go and try to unlock them, particularly with the F-160 Raju, but I am absolutely sure there are more than just the Raju that are just a joke. So be aware of this. Next up at number 7, I've put bad weapons, and generally there are so many terrible guns in GTA Online that have been added recently especially, and it's not even funny. I'd say an exception to this rule is if there's a gun that you really are a fan of, specifically a fan of the real life variant, then you might want to buy it even if it's $500,000. But unfortunately the fact is the Combat MG Mark II is the best handheld rifle in the game, not counting the minigun, not counting heavy weapon slots and things like that. But in terms of an actual rifle that you can hold in your hands, it is the best weapon in the game. No questions asked. It outputs the most damage per shot of anything outside of the explosive weapons, the minigun, heavy sniper, things like that. It also has a huge magazine and it is highly customizable. The heavy sniper Mark II is the best long range weapon in the game. The special carbine is a great assault rifle. The assault shotgun is the best shotgun. There's not a reason to own all 500 assault rifles that are in the game when they're all just as terrible as the rest of the assault rifles. And this is an easy way to save yourself a couple $1 million pretty easily. Just don't buy a ton of weapons and more than you need. You're not really going to use that Draco as much as you think you are in the assault rifle category. And then you're going to have to put it away through a gun locker, which is going to cost you more money. So overall, just please buy like one of each weapon in each category. Unless it's like the heavy category, for example, you're probably going to want a grenade launcher and an RPG and a homing launcher. But for assault rifles, they're all pretty much the same. In the sniper category, anything other than the heavy sniper Mark II sucks, so don't buy any of them. Same with the shotguns, same with most of the SMGs. So just be careful about the weapons that you purchase in online, because this is a super fast way to lose yourself a ton of money. Next up at number 6, we have the cargo bob, and I've actually advised purchasing a cargo bob in the past. However, I would not advise you to do so anymore, and this is only because of the new helicopter that's coming in the next few months into GTA Online, probably in March, but I'm not 100% sure on it yet. It is of course the Buckingham DH7 Iron Mule, and it is going to be better than the cargo bob in literally every single way. You can see it in the background gameplay here. Picking up a Rhino tank in this thing is so easy in comparison to the cargo bob, and the cargo bob is going to become so redundant, so extremely fast once this vehicle comes out. The new vehicle has countermeasures. It has a better weight capacity for towing. It has a higher top speed. It has better acceleration. It climbs faster. The chain to pick up things is longer. It also takes significantly more damage from homing missiles and RPGs. So by literally every metric, this vehicle is miles better than the cargo bob. So if you've been thinking about buying a cargo bob recently, for the love of God, do not buy one. This thing is going to replace the cargo bob so easily. So don't waste your money on that thing right now. Next up, we have a cosmetic or multiple of the same upgrades for businesses. Things like cosmetic wall safes, like the one in the CEO office, are completely useless. They do literally nothing other than allow you to walk up to them and open them. You don't collect money out of them or anything like that, similar to how you do in the nightclub, the salvage yard, or anything like that. As another example of this, owning more than one gun locker is completely stupid, and you can buy gun lockers in a lot of different properties, so only buy one of these if you're gonna buy one at all. Another thing to watch out for is to not buy any Mark II weapon workshops in any of your businesses, vehicles, or properties. There's a free one that you can use anytime at the Freak Shop, so keep that in mind for sure. Things like dry ice in the nightclub or dancers or nightclub style are all useless upgrades. Now I'm all for customizing your stuff to your liking, but do it once you're loaded in GTA. Once you have a ton of money, once you got excess money and everything like that, then go and buy these upgrades if it really means that much to you. But overall, they do nothing, and I would definitely not recommend buying a lot of these things, especially the cosmetic stuff. If you want to have multiple gun lockers, whatever, I do still think it's a waste of money. At the end of the day, you can kind of do whatever you want. Next up at number 4, we have the Master Control Terminal in the arcade. This is going to cost you $1,740,000, but now, with the Agents of Sabotage DLC, you can get a much cheaper Master Control Terminal. You're just going to need to own a terabyte, which you should own anyways because it's an excellent vehicle, especially now because it got a bunch of additional upgrades with this last DLC. Plus, the Master Control Terminal when you buy it in the Terabyte is $1,250,000, which is not a terrible price. And if you've already bought a Master Control Terminal in your arcade, don't worry, you're going to get a discount on the Terabyte one, and it's only going to cost you about $500,000, which is not too bad. Now, the Terabyte is a far better thing to put your money into than a Master Control Terminal in the arcade. It is one of the best defensive vehicles in the game now, and it allows you to store an Oppressor Mark II. Plus, the Terabyte also has a missile lock-on jammer as well as a collectible scanner now. And these things are all really awesome and add up to make it one of the best vehicles in the entire game, truly. Next up at number 3, we have high-end apartments. Now, you should really only own one high-end apartment in GTA Online. Now, a lot of you are probably going to be like, well, I need garage space. Well, here's something for you. You can simply buy just straight up 10-car garages on the map, and they're going to cost you way less than a high-end apartment. The reality is that you're never going to really visit these garages anyways, so most of the time you're going to be using the mechanic, which means that even if these garages are in kind of semi-inconvenient locations, you're still going to be able to get your vehicles out pretty quickly, and you're not going to have to go there very often. And they're going to cost you a fraction of the price of every single high-end apartment in the game. So I would definitely recommend just buying straight up 10-car garages if you need garage space. But if you don't need garage space, don't buy multiple high-end apartments. They're not worth owning. You only need one to start heists, and that's it. Next up at number 2, we have Pegasus vehicles. Now, of course, everybody knows the Swift and Luxor Deluxe. I mentioned them right at the start of the video. The $5 million helicopter and the $10 million plane, but they are just the tip of the iceberg. I feel like they get the mass of the hate towards Pegasus vehicles that are overpriced. Well, in reality, of course they are overpriced junk, and that is for sure. What about the HVY Vatir? This thing is terrible. You can't customize it, doesn't go in a garage, You have to call Pegasus to get it. It's a slow piece of shit. It is worse than the Swift or Luxor Deluxe. At least the Swift and Luxor Deluxe fly and can take an extra missile, but the Vatir, the Police Riot, the Frogger, the regular Luxor, these are all useless garbage vehicles, and they're not even convenient to pick up in the first place too, because you call Pegasus and you're too close to the location where you pick it up, all of a sudden it doesn't spawn. Pegasus calls you, says we can't deliver it, and you gotta go away and come back just to get a mid-ass vehicle anyways. These things almost all suck. I really do not recommend buying like a single Pegasus vehicle in GTA Online. They're all pretty much trash, so just try to avoid Pegasus vehicles, guys. They are so bad, and I feel like they don't get enough hate, so I'm going to try to drum up the level of hate for Pegasus vehicles right now, because these things have been getting away with this shit for way too long. The fact that you can buy a Frogger, which you can literally go to the heliport and just get one for free at any level, is crazy to me, and the cost on these things is just insane. So please, for the love of God, don't buy any Pegasus vehicles. They're such a joke. For a dishonorable mention before we get into number 1, I've selected the Brigade 6x6, and only specifically buying it before you've completed the first dose missions. This thing is going to cost you $1,450,000 before you complete the missions, but it will not allow you to skip doing the first dose missions to get the acid lab. You're still going to have to do them, and at the end of doing them, you would have the option to buy the 6x6 and the acid lab in it for $750,000. This makes this one of the worst ways to get fleeced in GTA Online. Please do not let this happen to you. I learned this the hard way on my second account. I had already done the first dose missions, and if you've ever played those, you know just how miserable and cringe they are. And I really did not want to do it a second time, and I saw that the Brigade 6x6 was available. You didn't need to complete the missions. I went and bought it for double the price of what I should have paid, just to find out I had to do the missions anyways. Absolute misery. It sucks. And I lost out on like 700 grand. It's such a joke. Please do not make the same mistake. I'm still mad about it to this day. Obviously, I still remember it. So yeah, that's a terrible way to get your money just stolen from you. And number 1, we have the Mule Custom Nightclub Delivery Vehicle. The Mule Custom is not necessarily an expensive vehicle or a huge, massive purchase. The Mule Custom is a vehicle that is not necessary to purchase for the nightclub business. When you go to sell and you have a sale that is too big for the Speedo Custom, they tell you you need a larger vehicle, but you can just simply buy the Pounder Custom, and it will do your medium-sized deliveries as well as your large deliveries that are all too big for the Speedo Custom. Rockstar doesn't tell you this in hopes that you'll buy the Mule, which is by far the worst of the 3 nightclub basement delivery vehicles. It's extremely slow, extremely top-heavy, and if you haven't bought it, you should never buy it under any circumstance. And you would be shocked how many players still don't know this to this day. So if there's one thing you take from this video, it is to not buy a Mule Custom for your nightclub delivery vehicle. And unfortunately, the bad news is once you've bought a Mule Custom, there's absolutely no way to get rid of it. So I'm really sorry for those of you who already own Mule Customs as your nightclub delivery vehicles, but unfortunately there's no way to get rid of it. And I am very sorry about this because I know just how much that sucks. I wish that you could have seen this before you bought one, because that vehicle is trash, and yeah, it just totally sucks. But anyway guys, there you have it. Those are the 10 or technically 11 worst things that you can buy in GTA Online in 2025. I really hope that I saved you some money, some headaches, and some general pain with this list. If I did, if you learned something, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If not, dislike. Consider subscribing to my channel if you guys are new, and comment a 7 if you made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care. Peace.